Hey there everybody, my name is Kat Bowser. I'm your resident fantasy therapist. Welcome back to my channel. Those of you here for the first time, welcome. My name is Kat Bowser. I'm a licensed therapist. I'm also a writer working on my first two novels, one a standalone, one the start of a series. And on my channel I like to talk about what I consider to be the heart of all writing. That's the characters. The heart of the characters is their psychology. So that's the angle I like to take with pretty much everything I like to talk about on my channel. Hey guys, so today we are starting our second day in this week for The Save Your Sister, which comes out next Tuesday. So today I wanted to talk about strong female characters. So yeah, this is a hot button topic. I think this has been on everybody's mind for a while, is the strong female character. And in my opinion, all the females in this Save Your Sister are strong female characters, even if they're not the main character, and even if we don't see too much of them. All the ones we encounter, I think, qualify as a strong female character. So that brings up the question, what is a strong female character? This is something that will be debated probably forever. But in my opinion, the thing that makes a strong female character is that they're a character first. I really think that is the issue with a lot of the female characters, especially lately, that have been getting a lot of pushback, is that there is more emphasis on the female part than there is the character part. And I really think that's where the problem lies, because in order to have a strong female character, you have to have a strong character first. And so I think, honestly, the same thing that goes into making a strong male character needs to go into making a strong female character. So what are those things? Well, everybody you talk to is going to have a different opinion, so this one's mine. I think there's a couple traits that you need to have a strong character. So I'll address one of the main ones first, is agency. Now, agency looks different for different characters. Agency is essentially the character taking a direct role essentially in their life, in their goals. Whatever it is their goal is, they're taking a direct part in making that goal a reality. That is agency. So I would say it's kind of the difference between an active character and a passive character. And that is probably a whole video in and of itself, but short version. Passive character is a character the story happens to. An active character is a character that creates the story. So you want a character that has something that they don't have, or something that they want, or something they want to change. And that is what is driving their part in the story. Now, this doesn't mean your character has to be active all the time. It doesn't mean that you can't have points where your character is passive. But what it does mean is that your character is going to set out to change something. They're not going to wait around and wait for it to change. The other thing, what I would consider number 2, personality. I really think this is where a lot of the more recent female characters kind of fall flat, is that their personality is kind of looped into the plot, which by itself doesn't sound like a bad thing, but the problem is that if you were to pull that character out of the plot, what is their personality? And a lot of times they don't really have one outside the plot. And that makes them less interesting. I'm less inclined to follow someone that doesn't have essentially an existence outside of what the story demands. So this is where you get into your flaws. This is where you get into your strengths. I would say this is where you get into the lie. This is something that pops up in a lot of writing books, and I do think it's pretty true, is that most characters have a lie that they believe in, or I like to call it a worldview that they look through, and it may or may not be true. So For example, if you have a character who believes that they have to make their own justice, that the system or wherever they are, the kingdom or whatever, isn't going to take care of them, they have to do it themselves, but that's not necessarily true, that is something that they uncover as the story goes along, and that helps influence a lot of their personality. The way people talk is part of their personality, their dialect, their word choice, whether or not they talk the same with every single person. Those are all personality traits. One that I like to cite a lot is characters all have a fear. And I think if you know what your character is afraid of, and by fear I mean like deep fear, if you know what they are absolutely terrified of, then you also know what they value, because all fear is based in loss. What are they afraid of losing? And if you know what they're afraid of losing, you generally know what they value. So that's a big chunk of your personality. Third point, and this is one where I think Save Your Sister really shines, and that is relationships. A character should not exist in a void. And by that I mean, you can have a character that's a loner. You can have a character that doesn't necessarily get along well with people, but they still need to have interactions with people. There still needs to be a specific way that they socialize or react to people. And it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all thing. Think about your own relationships. Chances are you don't have two relationships that are exactly the same, because each individual is an individual, so we react to them differently. And note, I said relationships. I did not say good relationships. You can have a character that has horrible relationships with other people, but that makes them interesting. Like for instance, I'll give you guys an example from Save Your Sister. Again, I'm not going to give you guys any spoilers, but Leila's relationship with Cosima and her relationship with Delphi, both her sisters, both massively different, not only in plot-wise by the story, but just the little things. Who is she vulnerable to? Who is she not vulnerable to? At what level of vulnerability is she open to with different people? These are all questions that the story answers by the different relationships that Leila has with her sisters. Her relationship with Pippa is very different than her relationship with Cosima or with Delphi. Her relationship with her father is complicated. So relationships, I think, are fun because they unveil a lot of your character's values, and you get to see them play out instead of just saying, here's what they value. You get to show it, and that makes your story stronger. Last thing for strong female character, or strong characters in general. In my mind, what is a quirk that your character has? And this is a small thing. Like, I don't consider this necessarily something you have to do, but I think it helps. What is an odd little quirk that your character has? I think that helps to develop a distinction, helps make them unique in your story. And when you have a unique portion of your character, most of the time it grows as you write, and it makes the character easier to write. It makes them easier to write interacting with others, and it just overall just makes them feel more authentic. So let's see here. Delphi in Save Your Sister. This woman. Okay, I don't consider this a spoiler. Delphi is very sexually confident. We'll put it that way. And I like that. I like how that's written, because it's a portion of her personality, but it does not dominate her personality. But it definitely helps you to distinguish her from the other characters. So that's what I'm talking about. So in some characters, maybe it's word choice they use, maybe it's hobbies they have, maybe it's some little physical quirk. In my work in progress, one of my characters has an extremely distinct accent, and it makes them identifiable instantaneously. So these are just little things that you can add that make your character stronger. Now, obviously, this is not an all-encompassing video. There's other things that you can do to improve your characters and make them stronger. But I think these are really good starting points. So I hope you guys found this interesting, and I hope this can help you to develop your female characters. And like I said, I think the emphasis needs to be character first, then the female. So I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, if you like what you see, make sure you leave me a comment or suggestion. I love both below, and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss when I upload. This week I'll be doing one every day because we are celebrating Jenna's book coming out next week on Tuesday. I have included her links below, as well as where you can pre-order The Savior Sister. And as always, thank you guys for chiming in. I hope you stay safe, and I'll see you next time.